This line decides if your world keeps working or shuts down. 900 kilometers long. At its narrowest point, just 2.7 kilometers wide. Right now, as you watch this, 102,000 ships move through this needle's eye. A constant flow you can't see, but the world depends on. It carries 25% of everything humanity trades, millions of tons of coffee, billions of microchips, and oceans of oil. But this isn't a trade route anymore. It's a pressure cooker. In 2025, Malacca officially surpassed the Strait of Hormuz as the world's most dangerous energy choke point. If this artery clogs, the global economy doesn't just slow down, it suffers a massive, irreversible stroke. And the system is already starting to seize. Beijing calls it their dilemma. 80% of China's oil passes through this tiny gap, one narrow corridor, feeding an entire superpower. For 20 years, they've tried to build a way out, pipelines through Myanmar, $62 billion corridors across Pakistan. Every attempt failed. The pipelines carry less than 5% of what they need. Civil wars and unforgiving terrain have turned their alternatives into expensive targets. China isn't just dependent on Malacca. They're trapped inside it, a single choke point, locking in an entire economy, and their rivals just closed the cage. 40 miles. That's all that separates India from the mouth of the strait. Close enough to watch every ship. Close enough to control everything that passes through. Through the $10 billion Great Nicobar project, New Delhi has turned the Andaman and Nicobar Islands into a fortress. They call it an unsinkable aircraft carrier. From the INS Baz Air Base, India sees every Chinese hull before it even enters the channel, tracked, identified, long before it has any chance to disappear. But they aren't alone. The U.S. just finalized a deal with Indonesia for operational access. And Singapore just bought 4 P-8A Poseidons, the most lethal submarine hunters on Earth. The system is closing in. If you want to see how this hidden war for control unfolds, subscribe. We are documenting the collapse of the old order in real time. But China isn't just watching the surface. They've gone deeper, beyond the reach of sight. Below the ocean itself, a second layer exists. Project Transparent Ocean. Hundreds of acoustic sensors and deep-sea arrays have been quietly deployed along the 90 East Ridge. A structure no one sees, but everything passes through. Chinese research ships are mapping every temperature shift, every change in salinity. Why? Because sound travels differently in each layer of water. It bends, it distorts. If you know the acoustic fingerprint of the strait, you don't just track movement, you predict it. Your nuclear submarines don't need to hide. They move like ghosts. While the U.S. watches from the sky, China is turning the seabed into a digital minefield. The ocean is becoming transparent, but only for those who own the sensors. But forget the missiles, forget the submarines. The real weapon isn't in the ocean or the sky. It doesn't fire, it doesn't move. It just sits on a desk in London. This is the insurance weapon. Every ship in this strait relies on the Lloyd's Joint War Committee, London, that decides what is safe and what is not. If tensions rise by even 1%, Malacca is declared an elevated risk area. Instantly, insurance premiums jump by 6,000%. A single tanker's voyage cost increases by millions of dollars overnight. Then comes the kill shot. P&I clubs issue a 72-hour notice to cancel coverage. Without insurance, a ship cannot enter any major port. Not Singapore, not Shanghai, not the major ports that depend on this route. In 72 hours, the U.S. and its allies can effectively delete the Chinese merchant fleet from the system. Not with missiles, not with warships, without firing a single bullet. This is the moment the game changed. This isn't geopolitics, it's financial warfare. If this level of systemic risk disturbs you, you need to stay until the end of this briefing. Underneath the hulls, there is a second heart. 95% of data between Europe and Asia moves through subsea fiber optic cables lining the Malacca floor. In 2024, a single fault in the CME 5 cable cut internet for a third of Bangladesh. Now imagine that happening by design. Beyond that, GPS spoofing is already spiking in the strait. Ships are seeing ghost positions on their monitors, signals that shouldn't exist. Electronic warfare units are testing how to make a 300-meter tanker go blind inside a 2-kilometer channel. A ship that size, with no signal and no room to maneuver. If a ship grounds itself here, it doesn't just block a lane. It stops everything behind it. A physical and digital blackout. A systemic cardiac arrest. The states surrounding the strait, Indonesia, Malaysia, are desperately trying to maintain neutrality, holding the line between two powers, but the pressure is cracking them. China is offering $20 billion bridges to link Malaysia and Sumatra. Massive infrastructure, sold as opportunity. A debt trap designed to buy loyalty. The U.S. is offering defense partnerships that turn their ports into American outposts. There is no free passage anymore. There are only sides. And the sides are already moving into position, not in the open, but in the dark, for a conflict that isn't coming. It's already unfolding in the shadows. As the Wuyang satellite constellation goes live in 2026, Beijing will see everything moving through the strait in real time. The window for surprise is closed. Peace is running out. The system is under maximum pressure, pushed to the edge from every side, with no release. And now, the first cracks are starting to show. We were told the world was too connected to fight. We were told the markets would prevent the war, that interdependence would keep everything stable, that the system itself would hold. But the markets aren't preventing the conflict. They're the very tools being used to trigger it. The system isn't stabilizing the world anymore. It is now being used as a weapon. Malacca is the trigger. The system has been building toward this moment for years. Everything leads here, and now it has already been pulled. The only question left is, how long can the world hold its breath before the pressure becomes fatal? The next escalation isn't coming. It's already in the water. The Malacca Strait is just the first domino. To understand the next choke point being weaponized, the Suwalki Gap, watch this briefing next. The system is breaking faster than they are telling you.